Hey everyone! Picture this. You own $1 million home, but you're still scrambling to pay for your morning coffee. Sounds ridiculous, right? But this happens all the time when people are asset-rich but cash-poor. Sure, they've got big assets, but when it comes to actual cash to live on, they're running on fumes. That's why in today's video, we're not just talking about building wealth. We're talking about becoming cash flow rich, where real financial freedom lies. Why is this important? Because assets won't cover your day-to-day expenses when emergencies hit. Without strong cash flow, even those million-dollar homes could become financial traps. So, stick around till the end, because I'm breaking down 5 actionable steps to help you build that cash flow, and sharing real stories from Singapore, Canada, and the US on how people turn their finances around. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. The more you engage, the more YouTube shares this with people who need it. Now, let's get into it. Chapter 1. Understanding Cash Poor. First off, what does it actually mean to be cash poor? Let's break it down. Imagine you own a stunning house in Singapore, or maybe you've collected rare art and expensive wines. You've got a luxury car, or perhaps even a yacht docked somewhere. Sounds glamorous, right? But here's the catch. Despite all those flashy assets, you're living off instant noodles because your cash is tied up in things you can't easily spend. And when an unexpected expense comes up, like a car repair or a medical bill, it feels like a financial emergency. Being cash poor is like walking a tightrope. You have impressive assets, but when it comes to covering day-to-day expenses, you're on shaky ground. If all your wealth is tied up in things like real estate, art, or luxury items that don't generate cash, you're one surprise away from serious financial stress. So how do you avoid being asset-rich but cash-poor? Let's dive into some real stories and actionable tips. Chapter 2. Singapore, Mei Ling's story. Meet Mei Ling from Singapore. In 2019, she bought her dream condo, and since then it's increased in value tremendously. Sounds amazing, right? But after paying off her mortgage and taxes, there's barely anything left to cover everyday expenses like food or, heaven forbid, a new aircon. One day, her aircon broke down in the sweltering Singapore heat, and Mei Ling had to dip into her credit card just to replace it. Realizing this wasn't sustainable, Mei Ling knew she had to make a change. She started tracking her cash flow, waved goodbye to those unnecessary expenses, and even began teaching yoga on the side to bring in extra income. Slowly but surely, she built up a cash buffer. No more stressing out over surprise costs like a broken aircon. What's one expense you think you could cut back on to start building your own cash cushion? Chapter 3. Australia. Brad and Jess's story. Now, let's head down under to Melbourne, Australia, where Brad and Jess seem to have it all. A big house and a comfortable lifestyle. But once the mortgage, taxes, and utility bills were paid, they were left with next to nothing. When their car broke down, they had to sell some shares just to fix it. But guess what? Brad and Jess got smart. They downsized to a smaller house, freeing up cash each month. With that extra breathing room, they started investing in dividend stocks, creating a steady flow of income. Now they're not just surviving, they're thriving. If you had extra cash each month, what would you invest in to boost your income? Chapter 4. Canada. James's story. Next stop, Toronto, Canada. James had 2 rental properties but very little cash flow to show for it. His tenants were inconsistent, and the maintenance costs were piling up. When the pandemic hit, James realized he was sitting on assets but had no liquidity to manage emergencies. So, James sold one of his properties and invested in REITs and dividend stocks. The result? A steady monthly income that covers his living expenses, minus the headaches of property repairs and tenant issues. Now, he's living comfortably, with cash flowing in consistently. What about you? Would you consider selling an asset to invest in something that generates regular income? Chapter 5. U.S. Emma's story. Over to Seattle, where Emma, a freelance designer, was also stuck in the asset-rich but cash-poor trap. Her house had gone up in value, but rising interest rates meant her mortgage payments were eating up her income. She was barely making ends meet, let alone enjoying life. Emma took action by refinancing her mortgage and renting out a room on Airbnb. With that extra income, she's now saving more and has the cash flow to enjoy the little things in life, like treating herself to the occasional latte. If you could create an extra income stream, what would it be? Airbnb, side hustle, or something else? Chapter 6. How to become cash flow rich. 5 actionable steps. All right, now that we've seen what it's like to be cash poor, let's talk about how to get cash flow rich. Here are 5 simple, actionable steps to start building that financial cushion. 1. Audit your cash flow regularly. This is all about understanding the full picture of your finances. Know exactly where your money is coming from and where it's going. It's like giving yourself a mini financial checkup. Start by tracking every dollar that flows in and out of your accounts, whether it's salary, side hustle income, or bills and subscriptions. You'll be amazed at how small, everyday expenses add up. Just grab a pen and paper or use a finance app and track your spending for 1 week. You might spot a few sneaky charges or recurring payments you forgot about. It's the first step toward controlling your cash flow, and it's easier than you think. What's one expense you think might be quietly draining your cash? 2. Don't put all your money into illiquid assets. Diversification is key. While it's great to have valuable assets like property or long-term investments, make sure you've got some funds in more liquid forms, like savings, cash, or easily accessible investments such as money market funds. Think of it as your just-in-case stash for those unexpected rainy days. Emergencies happen, and having cash ready to cover them means you won't have to sell your house or dip into investments at the wrong time. Trust me, your future self will thank you for keeping that safety net in place. What would your emergency stash look like? 3. Create passive income streams. Don't let your money sit idle. Whether it's investing in dividend stocks, REITs, or starting a small side hustle, creating passive income is a powerful way to keep the cash flowing in. The goal is to have your money working for you, even when you're not actively working. Think about it. What if you could turn a hobby or skill into a side gig that earns extra income? You might end up making more than just pocket change. Whether it's selling art, teaching online, or renting out a spare room, every little bit helps. What's a hobby you could turn into an income stream? 4. Keep an emergency fund. Life is full of surprises, and having cash on hand can make all the difference when unexpected expenses pop up. Whether it's a sudden car repair, a medical bill, or even a job loss, an emergency fund acts as your financial safety net. Aim to set aside a little each month and watch your fund grow faster than you might expect. It doesn't have to be a huge amount. Just start with what you can comfortably manage. Before you know it, you'll have a cushion that provides peace of mind and allows you to handle life's curveballs without stress. What's one unexpected expense you'd be ready for with an emergency fund? 5. Stay flexible. In the world of finance, adaptability is your best friend. Whether it means downsizing your home, selling off underperforming assets, or reassessing your investment strategy, making changes can free up cash without jeopardizing your long-term wealth. Being flexible isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. Embracing change can open up new opportunities and help you make smarter financial decisions. Remember, the goal is to ensure that your money is working hard for you. What's one change you could consider to boost your financial flexibility? Conclusion. So, whether you're in Singapore, Australia, Canada, or the US, the key to achieving true financial freedom lies in balancing your assets with real cash flow. Instead of just chasing the biggest house or the most impressive growth stock portfolio, shift your focus to how much cash you have on hand to live comfortably and stress-free. If you found these tips helpful, Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who could use a little financial inspiration. Remember, it's not just about being rich, it's about being cash flow rich. Thanks for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.